teaching old dog new tricks. Hi, I'm Gail Rubenstein, the founder and CEO of Retail Resilient. We teach car dealers all over the country how to sell more cars and make more money using social media platforms. Like I said, who says you can't teach an old dog new tricks? Check us out at retailresilient.com or send us a message in the chat bar on the Auto Hub Show.
Hi, it's Barry here with White Glove Performance Group. Thanks for joining the show this morning. Always great content on here, and a big shout out to Ian and Jeff for all the hard work that they put into this show. Just wanted to say really proud of being a sponsor of this show. White Glove Performance Group, what do? We have a cloud-based styling technology called Touchpoint. Touchpoint is used in dealerships all across North America. And the main reason for its popularity is because dealerships can now amp up their team to be calling 50 people an hour. They can leave a personalized voicemail, a custom email, as follow-up, all with a click of a mouse. This really speeds up some of the jobs that happen in the dealership, such as cleaning up your recalls, cleaning up lost souls in service, running a private sale, trying to reach out to your database to buy inventory. Obviously, we know that's the way to source it in today's environment. whitegloveperformancegroup.com. My direct is 587-899-6600. Love to have a chat with you about some of the things that we can do. But outside of that, I'm going to turn it back over to the host of the show, and hope everybody enjoys it.
Everyone, I'm John Latka from Automotive Business Solutions, where we help dealerships build more productive and proactive by appointment sales cultures through our Performance Management Partnership Program. So, if you want to increase your sales volume by 2 to 3 sales per month per salesperson, call our toll-free number, 877-708-8484 for a free consultation.
Thanks very much. So, good morning, everybody, and welcome. We've got obviously Jeff and Ian and a lot of people live, so thanks for joining and happy holidays. So go ahead, Mr. Jeff.
Good morning, everybody. We apologize for those of you on the Zoom side of things for not seeing the videos we just showed, but you know, everybody's seen Gail's dog flopping the ear, so we're pretty much okay. Thank you for joining us on our year-end show, and we're excited to have you all here, and much appreciate you taking the time. And what the heck, this time of year, we're either really busy or getting ready to be relaxed. So it's a nice thing. Basically, we got to start off with our disclaimer, which basically means the views of everybody here is theirs, not necessarily ours. Those of you who've watched us know all about it inside and out. Check our website and what the heck. And we know we got controversial people here and good people, especially those two guys coming to us from La Belle Provence, Quebec. They say lots of stuff. So
even in different languages, I hear.
Yeah, there's lots.
A couple of books, just so you know, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Bleep, Think Again by Adam Grant in 2030. You know, today's biggest trends will continue and reshape the future. And we're going to go right into the end of the year show. So take it away, Jeff. I'm just going to switch over.
Perfect. So many people joining us. We have a big list. People are coming and going. So first of all, I'm just going to go with the angle on the numbers on my screen. And first of all, we have joining us is Dominique Seguin. I got it good. He's the CEO of Nova Hawk Consultants, as you can tell by that lovely fake license plate behind him, or maybe it's real. And coming at us from Montreal, Dominic, can you say hi and quick intro?
So bonjour, hi everybody. Nice to join with a lot of faces that I follow. So it's nice to be all together.
Great, thank you. Next to him, we have Sean Armorer, also in French, it's Sean Armorer.
Fill your mouth with food.
BDC architect and owner of BDC Alchemy. Say hi, Sean.
Hey, hi guys. Thanks for having me, and what a panel. Super excited. I've been wanting to meet David for a while. I see Christine Mitchell. There's a lot of heavyweights here. Fred and Lou, Paul, everybody. I'm really happy to be here.
Thank you. We appreciate it. And next on my screen, we have Paul Meyer. I hope that's the way to pronounce it, Paul. And
that is actually correct. Yes.
Perfect.
Thank
In French, it's Paul. No.
Yeah.
And Paul, you're the owner of Dealer Vendor Match from Niantic, Connecticut.
Yes, dealervendormatch.com. What we do is we solve the age-old problem of the vendor-dealer relationship. Dealers don't want the vendors to just show up. Vendors hate going back time and time again to get blown off because you have an appointment, you want to leave some stuff behind. So what we do is we offer a very transparent way for dealers to sign up for a free dealer account where they can browse at their leisure all of the technologies and vendors that they need when they need them in total anonymity. And if they see something that adds value to their business, all they do is they click the call or click the email right within the portal. So it's very easy to use. And again, it's free for dealers, different plans for vendors. So check us out at www.dealervendormatch.com.
Awesome. Thank you. Speaking of anonymous, we have the next person on my screen, William Camastro, the dealer of Gold Coast Cadillac in, I call it Gold Coast, New Jersey, but somewhere near New York. And he's the host of Level Up. Hey, Bill, say hi.
Hey guys, how you doing? We're coming to you from New Jersey. Yeah, I'm looking at the screen. I see all these faces. Some of these people I really don't know, but no matter what language you speak, we all go through the same things every day. But I do have to mention the coffee car guys down there. I feel significantly underdressed today, man. I really do. You guys are starting early. I'm jealous.
Thank you. Next, we have David Long, who is the host of All Things Used Cars on Clubhouse. Runs about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dealerships from the greater LA area in California, and you can see the natural background he has looking out his window. Hey, welcome again, Dave.
Good morning, everyone. I was going to practice my French. I haven't used it in quite a while, but I'll save it. It's good. It's good to be here. I'm actually in not North Pole, but Northern California.
I apologize. I am so wrong. How dare I insult you?
No. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of LA. So especially being a Warriors fan, right? So we need to keep it real. But I'm happy to be here with everybody. I see a lot of faces and names that I know and respect. And guys, the coffee car guys, thank you so much for pouring into my team and everybody else that's helped me along the way this year. I appreciate you. Thank you. It's good to be here.
Thank you. We got a long list. We're just going to make it quick. And so I'm going to tell Fred and Lou, the car guys, to do a very quick introduction. But
that's tough, but we'll do it. Hey, I'm Fred. I'm the subprime hero.
And I'm Lou Ramirez, the car guy.
And man, we are the Car Guy Coffee Podcast, also the Certified Solutionaries. And we're just happy to be here, man. There's just looking at everyone that is here right now. Wow.
Cheers.
This is going to be a lot of fun. Cheers to you. Merry Christmas.
Let's have a good time.
Happy Hanukkah. Happy holidays. All that good stuff, man. Spread the cheer. We love you guys. Thanks for having us. Let's have some fun today.
Let's
something, you're just a little on the shy side. So could you just,
let's tone it down.
So sorry.
Just one less shot.
Pick up the enthusiasm a little bit.
We have our good friend Christine Mitchell, the car lady. We have the car guys, the car lady. Joining us from Southern Ontario, never sure where, but say hi, Christine.
Hello and good morning, everybody. I'm Christine Mitchell, the car lady. Good to see some friends here on this call. Thanks for including me again today.
Thank you. When we have a new guest on our show, which is certainly needs no introduction to anybody else, is Jason Harris, the strategy mob boss. And speaking of New Jersey, and Jason, say hi and thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Man, this is cool. You know what? I should have looked closer at the list of everybody on here. This is just like a big Christmas gathering of some great friends. I'm just like, hey, everyone, what's going on? Hey, I'm super excited to be on here. My name is Jason Harris. Been in the car business for 18 years. I'm just a guy with a microphone with a lot of opinions, and yeah, I'm excited to jam with y'all.
Hey, Orange, you glad you're here?
Lou must have wrote that one for you.
We've got on the list, a bunch of people, good friends of the show that weren't officially on the list of presenters, but just quickly saying hi to everybody. We have Larry Feldman, who's our new friend, our old friend, who's actually quite young at heart, John Latka from Halifax, Nova Scotia, Janice Showers, Dave Jackson, my old Chrysler buddy. We have Mike Weldon there, and who am I missing? Harry. I'm not sure, Harry. Hi, Harry. And Stephen Granger, man, the recall rabbit. We just love the stuff he talks about. So why don't we get started, Ian?
We got Jason there from NabDat, just so you know, not to put in a plug.
Oh, my apologies, Jason. Oh, I'm sorry. Jason's been on quite a few times, so I'm really embarrassed if you could see me blushing, you know.
So why don't we get started? Obviously, this show's open format, so Jeff and I have come up with some questions. I'm sure it'll go off the rails quickly, but you know, that's where we're going to start. If you haven't been on the show before, obviously this is our last show of the year. Stay tuned for our 2022 season launching soon, and we are going to be selling not only our mugs but also hats and shirts in the new year. It's already up, but it's not operational yet.
And we're for sale, by the way, too.
So go ahead, Jeff.
Okay, so let's just jump into this. There's some big discussions that have gone on the last year, and all of those in the dealer world know that my term would be the Frito world, which is chips. So the question is what's the big challenge? Chips and used supply there because of that, or process change. And Dominic's been on the longest, so I'm going to ask Dominique first. What's your opinion on that? What's the big one?
So let's throw the French guy at the shark. No, I'm just kidding.
How do you say throw him under the bus in French?
Yeah, on va le lancer en dessous de l'autobus. So I think like every challenge were all connected, like so chips and new supply and the process changes that we have to do. But I think the greatest challenge was like managing people. So to go back to the basic and refocus with our team in a dealer, and even with the customer, because like everybody they have enough of this thing. So we should like everybody should like slow it down and get back to what it means to be in relationship. So I think everything drives to the basic of managing people and our team and what we can offer to customer. So I think this is why everything was a challenge, because it breaks down to the roots of why we're in business.
Yeah, that's very true. And let's go to Bill, who's the dealer in the room. We'll try to go back and forth between the supply side and the dealer side. So what do you think? Chips and used supply is the biggest challenge, or process?
Well, I'm going to be candid with the. I don't know that there's too many deals. There probably are a few, I would imagine, but because of the supply and demand issue, most of the dealers, the lion's share, are making money, right? So, to me, being the highest volume dealership doesn't make you number one. The guy who makes the most money is number one. That's always been in business. It seems to be the case, right? Because you can do more if you're making money. But that being said, I think our biggest issue right now, and we talked about it, as you guys are well aware, yesterday morning as well on our show, was that because we're shooting fish in a barrel right now doesn't make us fishermen. When you got to pick up that fishing pole, make a lure, and throw it in the water, and try to know where the deepest part of the water is, where the lily pads are, and where the bass are hanging out, then it's a different dynamic. And I think one of the issues that we're all facing is process erosion, because you don't want the car, I got somebody else will buy it. You don't want to pay 10 grand over. There's a lot of people that will. And I think the chip issue is an issue, but that's it's God will help me to control the things I can, and I need to know the difference between those the things I can control and those I can't. I can control my processes and my people to a point. I can train them. I can work with them. I can't control the chip problem. I can call my manufacturers as many times as I like. They're not going to make more cars or deliver them any faster within reason. But I can train my people, lead my people. That's the one thing I do have unique control over. And right now, I think if we sit back in our chairs and we take the money off the table and count it while our processes are falling apart, we're in for a rude awakening in about 6 months when these cars start showing up.
Yeah, for sure. That's one of the thought process that we have. So let's go to Fred and Lou, because you're kind of well, you're kind of walking the tightrope between dealer and back end supply. What's your opinion on this, or what's your take?
If I was to say of the two, when you talk
Especially
about
where we are.
chip supply versus the used car supply, I think that it was more of a chip issue this year, obviously, is what caused everything. But the used cars, what we found, I think that most of y'all would agree, is that at first it was scary because everything went up so much you couldn't buy them at the auctions. But then we saw the values of cars go up. We'd never seen that before. We couldn't have predicted that it happened, but which thank God it did, right? Because we were like, you would have a car that was 3 months old, and instead of being heavy in it, you were really light in it, and you were able to make profits. So it wasn't like aged inventory really mattered anymore. So I would put that towards more the chip shortage kind of made things really, really unique for the year. Like we've never had something like that where it just stops, no more new cars were being made where they were being made. They just weren't being delivered because they still needed chips, right? So they were just sitting there and we couldn't get our hands on them. We had people buying cars before they would even show up. And that was such a unique thing. So I almost think that all of it is a blessing. Like William was to say, and I don't mean to ramble too much longer. I want to let Lou talk, but what we had control over, right? We had control over just the attitude of our store, the processes that we were teaching them, making sure they didn't get into bad habits of selling less cars, making more. We do want to make more money per unit. That's great, but that's not going to be forever. Eventually, I believe, and things even self out, we're going to be back to similar things when it came to gross per copy. And when it does, you got to be back to the same unit count. So what are we doing right now to help them become better at moving more metal, to be able to keep looking to be able to help? So we got to encourage them to help people. It's not about the money anymore, because we're going to make money. So now we got to encourage people to help people. So the more people we help, the more fulfilled we feel. Mm-hmm. And that's a different role than a salesperson. I think you have to be a good salesperson at the end of the day, but having those skill sets, being able to be ready to help people and wanting to help as many as I can, that is something we need to train on really hardcore right now and get better at. And I think that at the end of the day, we will be better at our jobs and we will sell more vehicles. So great point, Will. Great point, Dominique. I love what you guys are talking about. And Lou?
I mean, both of you, of course, said some incredible things. I won't tie up too much, but Will said process erosion.
Yes.
Folks, it doesn't happen overnight. You don't decide by the next day, that's it. We're going to abandon our processes. It is a over time thing that begins to cut away from the thing that makes you a good and well-oiled machine.
Yep.
Making sure that there is the congruency from advertisement to delivery. And when the excellent teams that are successful find themselves with a challenge, they go into higher levels of training. They go into the gym more, right? They begin to analyze their process. They watch more videos. Those that want to go to the next level are always trying to find a way to train to the next level. And when that type of focus comes into a culture, that's who thrives, that's who builds up. You're going to see a lot show itself soon, right? When the tide comes up, there's a silt that's all over the streams, right? But it's the responsibilities of those that are planted by moving waters to absorb it and produce good fruit. Okay, I mean, I appreciate that. I feel the sad, like.
Hey, I was feeling you, bro. I had to give it to you.
Hey, are we at an award show when they play the music?
It's like, all right, guys. Wait, Matt, I was doing that because it was good stuff. I wanted to show you that I loved it, man.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. But if hopefully we get the correlations right, these things have to happen, and it will erode. If you are not focused on making it better, it's going to fall away. It's either growing or it's dying. One of the two are happening. And so making that commitment inside of your culture is what's key to come out of a chip shortage, to come out of an inventory shortage, whatever it is, you can come out of it. But in our area, we've seen it huge. Chip shortage like crazy. We have cars everywhere. There's cars everywhere.
Yeah, we're right by the Ford truck plant.
For a chip.
There's trucks everywhere.
All over the place.
They're just not being delivered. Yeah.
Well, they can be like GM and just make trucks without heated seats and radios and everything else. We'll move on to Paul and get your opinion coming from the backside. And there was actually a question here from Steve Granger, which is just saying, and maybe you could answer that, Paul. With less customers now, are dealers spending more time training now? And then move into the topic about supply and process.
Okay, so in my opinion, this is an emerging story that's still developing, and we're not going to feel the full impact for the next few years. Because yes, there's a chip shortage now, and yes, we're making profits now, but this is a problem that we really haven't seen the full extent of. Because here's how I look at it. With the chip shortage, There's a ton of cars sitting there waiting for the chips to come in. Okay, that's going to be the tide that gets released. All right, but in the meantime, to an earlier point, when I go in to buy a new car and I'm dealt with by a salesperson as, hey, you don't want to pay $5,000 over? No problem. I've got somebody over here that will pay it. So right off the bat, I'm going to remember that experience. That's number one. And that's a long-term memory that I have. With less new cars going out, there's less cars coming back for service. Now, as it is, only 3 in 10 cars go back to any dealership for service. Only 18% go back to their selling dealer for service. So if I now limit or cut that supply of new cars that are coming in for service, I'm going to cost myself money in the long run, because that's just the way it is. We're not going to have the number of off-lease cars coming. So that's going to drive up the prices of those cars when they come off lease, because there will be less of them. The people that are buying cars now, the ones that get past the $5,000 over, let's face it, they're cars. Unless you're looking at a special edition where there's only 5 of them, any car depreciates. And when the OEMs get their chips and they dump all these cars on manufacturers, what do you think is going to happen to the value of the cars, that the new cars they did sell? The whole notion of an early out program, when that flood happens, that goes out the window. So now you've also limited the number of cars that you can sell going down the road, maybe 2 years from now. So we haven't felt that pain yet. And again, the consumer sentiment is, you guys treated me badly. Why would I want to come back to you when I have so many choices online today where I can just click, 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 and go with the one that's easier? So yes, we're making more profits, and yes, we're killing it on used cars. But guess what, guys? The used car customer isn't the one that typically goes back to the dealer for service, and service is where you make the money. BC, before COVID, there were a number of new car stores that made no money. Actually, they lost money on the front end of the house. But when all was said and done at the end of the month, it was the service department that paid the bills and carried them through. So now you're selling more used cars, but there's less of those people coming in for service. Where do they go? The aftermarket, who is actively pursuing that business. I challenge anyone here to go into 100 dealerships and do a search from their parking lot. Brake service near me, oil change near me, pick whatever you want near me. And I would say of the 100 dealerships you go to, 110 of them will take you down the street to the aftermarket shop. I've spent 11 years in the aftermarket running service centers. I've peeled off a fair share of dealer stickers for service and replaced them with mine. The aftermarket stores, they may not have the facilities that the new cars have, but it's more of an intimate relationship. The customers that come in, me, the service manager, the desk person, the mechanics, they all knew the customers by name, their situations, their families, and vice versa. So as more of those customers go into the aftermarket shops, there's a lot of sharp guys that will develop the kinds of relationship that will keep them coming back to them, thus further limiting our fixed ops opportunity. So what's the biggest problem? We don't really know yet, because we haven't felt the full extent of what's happening. And we're probably not going to feel that for the next 2 or 3 years. So that's my take on it.
Perfect. Thank you. So rather than go through our full list of people, we'll move on to our next question, unless there's somebody that really would like to jump into this this topic.
Maybe David has a comment, being we're talking a little bit about used cars and new cars and service. Maybe he has some thoughts.
I'll go brief. So I felt like I was in an AA meeting for a minute, William. My name's David, and I'm an alcoholic. Go ahead. Hi, David.
Hi, David.
Thank you. So that wasn't my thought. My
Dave,
thought
the
was,
good news is there's no chip problem with liquor, so we can keep you supplied with liquor.
well, that's actually the problem, is most guys don't pick up chip when they need it. But that's a whole nother meeting for another day. But I see the smiles. That means some of you guys qualify. So what I was or thinking about was, when a customer pays $5,000 over, they're getting $4,000 or $5,000 more for their used car, right? So then there's a lot of equilibrium to the transaction right now. But I happen to have a difference of opinion with some of the things that I heard this morning. This is the best time I've seen in 33 years. There's no shortage. There's no problem. As a matter of fact, it's the best. If you had told me at the beginning of 2021 that we would experience what we've experienced this year, I wouldn't have believed you. And who knows what so when I hear somebody talk about what 2022 is going to look like, I chuckle inside because I don't think anybody really knows. One of my coaches says you can have real clear vision for 30 days. It gets foggy at 45. And if you think you're clairvoyant at 90, you're kidding yourself. So it's a different time we live in, and I happen to love it. So that's really all I'd share about that. Other than thanks for letting me share. Keep coming back. It works if you work it. That's all I got.
Rock and roll.
Thank you,
Jason, do you have any
Just work
thoughts?
the program, David. Just work the program. Yeah, you know what? Look, like I think for oh, sorry, Christine, you were up first. You had your hand up.
Go ahead, Christine.
I just wanted to echo Paul's sentiment about service being essential, right? Because we had long periods of time where people weren't driving their cars, and then when people could start buying vehicles again, even with a shortage, service still has to be that essential piece. I've spent my entire career moving people from the delivery process back to your service departments. My stores have done extremely well with the events we've hosted. But unless you have that process with your people inside your dealerships every day, they will go other places. So it's more important than ever. If you don't have a lot of cars to sell, you better make that a platinum experience for every customer, and let's get them back into the service department, because service is more than just, we all know, service is more than just oil changes. What about detailing? What about accessories? What about winter tires? What about storage, which is the greatest retention tool of all? Moving our customers into these features and letting them know that we are everything auto in the dealership setting will help offset some of these challenges with chip shortages, with vehicle shortages. And again, service is always essential.
Fantastic. And I think we've got to go to Jason and then Sean, because Jason was jumping in there. Sean was...
Okay, Sean. It's okay. Sean doesn't mind.
Take it, Jason. Take it.
No, look, we're coming off a year where almost every dealer principal friend of mine who's netted more profit than they've ever had, right? But what we're seeing, though, at every single level within a dealership, on the fix-up side or the sales side, the variable side, it doesn't matter. You're seeing the cream rise to the top, all right? You're seeing who's the real operators and who's not the real operators. You're seeing the people that are looking at this as a sprint versus a marathon. And the dealer principals out there, and the managers out there, and the salespeople, and the service advisors, the service managers are looking at this as a marathon, and looking at this as just one stretch of a very, very, very long process. They're the ones that are going to ultimately succeed.
Fantastic, Sean.
Yeah, everybody had actually awesome comments, but I absolutely have to echo my boy David Long over there. I think, yeah, there is a chip shortage. We could focus on what we can't do, but we can also focus on what we can do, which is why I love everything having to do with BDC and service. BDC is very much about exploring the unknown. So for me, it's like I've been here since the beginning of my career when I was washing cars like 20 years ago. I think a lot of people are missing, excuse me, I think a lot of people are missing the point. One of the big words that came up here among all the little squares in front of me is profit, 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 right? The big question is, what are we doing with this profit? For the first time in automotive history, everything has slowed down. So why are we not taking this profit and reinvesting it into our people, reinvesting it into our processes, reinvesting it into like communication courses for our advisors? So I think, like Jason was saying, I mean, some people like a sprint race marathon, but it really depends, whoever has the best processes and whoever is able to kind of pivot, because it's an ongoing process right now of disrupting our current belief system. I like to call it cognitive dissonance. For the longest time, we just like, this is the way it is, this is the way it is, even if it wasn't. And I think that this entire situation was one big stress test. And we're going to see what's happening. But I think this is an excellent opportunity to just pour back in all those profits into our people.
Fantastic. Well, we were talking a little bit about digital versus live, and I know we've had this question before, and I agree with the investment absolutely. I mean, I see more and more renovations and everything else going on these days, but obviously at the end of the day, it's about people working with people. But when you look at digital versus live, obviously we see less and less traffic today, more people doing digitally than ever. Younger generations wanting to do it differently, maybe younger sales staff wanting to do it differently. The road to the sale probably changing a lot in the near future. What do you think on digital versus live? You think the live is coming back? Why don't we start with Jason from NABDAT? Digital versus live. You're muted, Jason.
Yeah. Hey guys, thank you for having me again. I think it comes into, we've talked about it before, but it comes into the consumer, right? It comes into the experience of what somebody's trying to do. And one of the things that we always, talk to our dealers about is, when a consumer walks in physically, why are you trying to push them to a tablet, right? They're there physically, and now you're trying to put them into a digital shopping experience. So I think what you need to do is you need to be able to, provide an online experience that consumers are looking for to be able to buy a car. But when they come in, you better be able to provide them with an experience that they're looking for physically.
All right, and let's go with
make a comment here, Ian.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ian and I were talking yesterday when you talk about digital versus live, and up here in Canada we have a company, a digital company called Canada Drives, which you buy your car online, and then the lovely blue truck and trailer pulls in front of your house and drops off your car. Same process as many down in the States. But yesterday Ian commented that there's a Canada Drives truck and trailer parked in front of a Honda dealership. So that was the ultimate there. Sorry, Ian, go ahead.
Exactly. Yeah, they were taking up the whole front of the store, and they had the truck and the trailer parked with pylons, so all the traffic could see their logo in front of a dealer, which is right behind them. Which I thought was really, really funny, was that they don't even have physical stores at all, but they're delivering cars, and they're really trying to market it directly against the dealer, even in front of the building. So I thought that was really interesting. Who wants to jump in next?
Dominic raised his hand. Okay.
All right, go ahead.
I think if we look from the customer's point of view, it is like a journey. So I think we brought up to the table digital versus in dealer, and it's ecosystem. It's a multi-point touch ecosystem. There's some things online, offline. So it has to be like whatever the customer wanted. And the only thing we can do is to be prepared to offer everything online and everything offline. And the most important thing is that those two things blend together. So for the customer, it's one experience. Even if there's a multi-point of contact and 2, 3, 4 people involved in the transaction, I think we have to get back to focus that the customer point of view, it's one seamless experience.
Yeah, and Dominic, maybe you can speak a little bit about the uniqueness in the Montreal market, where basically you guys aren't open weekends. Everyone buys a car Monday to Friday. Is that still correct?
That's like politics. There's dealers, yes, still open, but a lot of them are forced to close due to staff they scrapped over the year because they were making too much profit and forgetting about
I heard
their
it's
staff.
broken windows.
But the thing is, yes, there's open. I think it was like something because of the used car in the days. But I think we should go back to Monday to Friday. Being on appointment, we should go like we do in service. We should do that in sales. It's like doing business by appointment, like in the dentist, like everywhere I go to see a professional, I take an appointment. So I think If we go that way, uh, whatever it is, like Monday, Saturday, we will have to be ready when the customer want. I think so, unfortunately.
Right. Thanks. Let's go with David Long.
Off mute. So sorry about that. Can you reframe the question? I want to make sure.
Digital or live? I mean, obviously we've transitioned from the days of the up bus down to more and more digital, where people are really only showing up to pick up a car or to have the car delivered. Or do you feel that, you know, what's better or what's going to be moving forward the dominant? You think we're going to go back to live visits, or you think people are going to, now they're conditioned to just buying mostly online?
So when I hear the term digital or live, I think it's all one experience today, at least for me, right? There's really no separation. You're either digital in your car, on your cell phone, in your living room, or you're digital in my showroom, but it should all be one process in my mind. The other thing is I see in the comments, are you spending, because Chip, you don't have a lot of cars, or you spend a lot of time training, and average units per salesperson is up. So the sort of the misnomer that people have extra time, I don't see that. As a matter of fact, we have less salespeople selling more cars, making more money. So the erosion of process really need to be crafty on how we train, when we train, and where we train, because there's not extra time. People aren't sitting around like the Maytag repairman waiting for something, at least not in my world. So it's super interesting times. That's all I'd say, is one process, regardless of how the customer shops. And to the question in the chat, I don't see extra time, so we have to find a way to make the time.
Thanks for that.
Yep.
Fred Lou, you wanted to comment?
I do, man. David kind of like exactly what I would say in a
Took
sense.
my answer.
He did, man, because it's the same thing. Here's the thing, like we can make digital personal. We can make digital human, you know, and that's what we should do. We should use the tools and the technology that we have in today's world and just make us better at what we do, make it more efficient for our clients. When you can use video, you can use Zoom just like we are right now. You could do a walk around on a car right now with the Zoom meeting. How much more personal is that than just sending pictures to somebody about a car, the inside, the outside? Now you're talking. Now you could even take them on a test drive while you're in the car and show them what it sounds like. It's unlimited what you can do with digital technology. So why not make it all in one? Why not train every single day with your team on how to be all of it? Because much like everyone's been saying, you want to make sure you gain the client that is digital. You want to make sure you gain the client that isn't. But 10, 15 years from now, they're all going to be a crossbreed, more so than they are right now. I am, and I'm 40 something years old, right? So, and I'm already a crossbreed. I love looking at stuff digital. If somebody shows me stuff on a Zoom, I would do it, because to me, that's amazing. They're doing that. We're using technology that we have right now. So let's do that. Let's make it easy. I could be at work. You could just send me a quick video. I don't even have to be there. Then I can make a decision. All I have to do, if I'm really still want to be a human to human, is I can just go show up to the store, then feel the wheel myself if I have to, but I've already been through everything else. It's going to save me time. It's going to save me all, which to me, time is more valuable than money. So it's going to get me all those things done. So why not be that way? Why not be all of it? Why not use today? We can't keep living in yesterday. You know, you can use yesterday stuff, remember yesterday, but you have to live what's going on right now and be the best version of yourself, of your business, of your technology right now. So be all those things. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Thanks, Lou.
Let's talk to Stephen Granger, the Recall Rabbit. Let's get his opinion. You're there.
Mute. There we go. I just would echo what everybody else said about it's all one experience. And I think it's funny when people talk about getting cars digitally. I got a car like 8 years ago. I never went into the dealership. I did it all online through email, text. It's not new. Or I laugh also about delivery. When I was selling cars in 2001, I would take an Audi to someone's house and deliver it to them. Like it's kind of what's old is new. And I would echo the point of using technology to make us better. That's the whole point, right? Like what we do. We just take what people do manually, digitized it, and make it easier so they can spend their time doing their job instead of manually doing what we do for them. So I would just echo what everybody else has said.
I just wanted to say that, you know, one thing is that digital can't hold a wrench. And people still like that assurance of tell me what's going on with my car. I think they still want to talk to a person. They want to talk to a person in service. I just want to say that because I always come from the service side, guys. I can't help it. But digital, I get it. Buying a car online is a great experience. But once you do that delivery, again, to Paul's point, if we don't get them back for service, we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot.
Thanks, Christine. We got 3 hands up. I'm going to go with Larry first. Don't be too opinionated, but go ahead, Larry.
No problem at all. First of all, happy holidays to everybody. I appreciate being on the show. I wanted to make some comments on what's already been commented on. First of all, to Fred Lou, the Car Guy Coffee podcast, wherever they're going to be partying for Christmas, I want to be there. They look like they are not dull guys. As far as Bill Camastro, 2 things. Many moons ago, I'm sorry if I'm dating myself, I went on a dealer trip with Ed Fletcher, who used to be Gold Coast. What a hell of a guy he was. And you mentioned, you did a little comment about Aaron Rodgers. I admire Aaron Rodgers. I'm an Eagles guy. I'm a Philadelphia guy. But I remember a few years ago, they lost to Seattle. And they lost to Seattle because they went for field goals instead of touchdowns. And Seattle wound up in the Super Bowl that year. When you're ahead, that's not the time to slow down or be cautious.
Right.
Hell, if I've got any sports fans on the line, that's what cost John Wooden when they lost to North Carolina State. They decided to slow down. Now's the time to put the foot on the gas and make yourself better and better. I agree with what everybody said about the human touch. Absolutely, more now than ever, since things are digital. And if you make a simple call, you got to go through 97 prompts before you get hung up on. Now, more important than ever, it's important to get our people prepared because it won't always be 10,000 over lists, and we won't always be in this position. And last but not least, the last 2 things, Sean said something about reinvesting. The incredibly good holiday news is here I am on the line. So if anybody needs sales or service people or the best training around, here I am. And I saw, Paul, I don't know what was in your background, but it looked like a spaceship. If there's any chance of getting Joe Biden and Kamala on that plane, I will gladly pay the fare.
Wow. Thanks very much.
Let's go,
Ladies and
Brandon.
gentlemen, the views here by our guest.
We got lots of hands up, so let's go with Harry to start, and then we'll mix it up. Go ahead, Harry.
Nobody's talking about the manufacturer digital. I think if the dealers go totally digital, it's a big mistake. The manufacturers are going to look at that and say, hey, guys, we really don't need our dealerships. We can sell the cars ourselves. Tesla's made it very successful. There's no franchises in Tesla. And that's my biggest concern. The other thing is I've been through so many cycles in this industry, and the industry always figures it out. I got into the industry in 1980. Prime rate interest rate was 19%. We still sold cars. It didn't matter. You figure it out as you go along. And these dealers are short-sighted, I think, going totally digital. We need the hands-on contact. As Christine has said, people want to know people. I'm old-fashioned. I need to touch and feel everything that I buy. Call me old-fashioned, but that's the only way I like to buy. And I think people still want to do it that way. We've created a society where people don't leave their house anymore. They now can work from home. They can order their food from home. They don't need to leave their house. What are we creating? A bunch of robots? That's all I have to say. Everybody have a happy and a healthy.
Fantastic. Go ahead, Jason. That's Jason Harris.
All right. Look, I think I want to echo everyone's sentiment here, and I think what we're looking at, it's not a difference between digital or live. Really, what we're looking at is the last nail in the coffin to the sales process. All right, that 12-point sales process, it's dead, it's gone. All right, customers didn't want it in the first place. We created it. All right, we told them how to buy a car and forced them through this multiple step process, and that's what you're seeing is dead. And that's where you see combination digital and live now, where it's now a buying process, not a sales process. All right, I can meet and greet with the dealership 4 different ways. All right, I can communicate with the dealership 7 different ways. I am literally negotiating a purchase right now for a Land Rover Defender, and I've done the entire negotiation process over text message for the last 2.5 days. We're seeing the death of the sales process. We're seeing that final nail in the coffin. All right. It is all about now the buying process and making that flexible to the consumer with the usage of technology. But it's not one or the other. It's always going to be the combination of both.
Thanks, Jason. Paul, you had some thoughts?
I agree with everybody here regarding the in-person stuff insofar as it's always been about the relationship. I laugh when I see posts about, oh, you know, we need to work on the customer relationship. No, we don't need to work on it. It's always been that way since the first caveman sold the first club. Always been about the relationship. Nothing has ever changed in that. The technology piece, you know, digital or live, I think what we're going to see is we're never going to go back 100% live the way we were. I think there's always going to be a hybrid because everything evolves over time. There is a percentage of the buying base that prefers the digital only. And that's just the way it is. So we can say to ourselves, hey, you know what? We don't want whatever the percentage is, whether it's 30%, 40%, whatever it is, we can say we don't want 30% of these customers to come in and buy cars from us. Okay, that's your choice. But the reality is, if that's the only way they're going to come in, we need to give them that opportunity to buy our products the way they want to buy them. This whole business of I can put you in this car today for XYZ, you know, that's the way we've done it for decades. But the reality is they don't want to be put into anything. That's what invited the Carvanas, the Vrooms, the CarMaxes. You know, we can't push them. We can't force a round peg into a square hole. It just doesn't work. The customer wants more control. And if we give them the opportunity to buy from us the way they want to buy, well, then we've earned yet one step closer to be able to develop that in-person relationship to grow our business. As far as the technology in store, when they come in, yes, that's our great opportunity. Technology, in my opinion, is not to replace the human. It's merely to enhance the experience. When I go into a store in person, where I've started something online, the tablet is not meant to push me back into digital. The tablet is meant to streamline that in-person experience so that I'm not asking the same questions over and over. So that as I'm gathering my information, it easily goes in there and it then sources the database that I have for whether it be inventory, availability, pricing, all of that stuff. So it's a shorter time frame, more respect for the customer's time to make that transaction happen easier. When this bubble bursts, and it will, we still have to go back to the basic sales skills that we had before this. We're busier now than ever doing more sales with less people, but let's not forget, before COVID, inventory carrying costs was choking a lot of places. Process or lack of process was a problem. When we go back to a flooding of inventory, those problems are going to come back, and unless we plan for that now, while we have to make the time for it, we're going to be in a similar situation to where we were. But to your question, digital or live, both going forward to some varying degrees, depending on the customer's preference.
And thanks very much. And Fred and Lou had a comment. And Jeff, why don't we go to a lightning round next, just so you know. Go ahead.
Just wanted to make it very, very clear when we look at going forward, understanding both are going to have to be there. The human touch is very important. When it comes down to going to a physician, going to a doctor, being seen by someone that has to touch and feel and see what's going on with the symptoms that are happening. But we've also found a way to automate that too. I can go on here, and you all probably can do the same. You can go on here and let a doctor take a quick examination based off of the camera that's on your phone, right? Based off of the symptoms that you have right now. And some people would utilize that. Some people are going to dig their heels in the sand and say, I want my doctor to come to me, right? They won't even go to the doctor anymore. No, my doctor comes to me, right? That's how that's going to go. That's okay. Some of those processes are going to fall off, right? Some of those things are going to be relevant. Understand the buyer that's coming now are your kids, your grandkids, those that want to be able to have the option. They want to find the direction. Jason and Paul said it masterfully. They said it great. Folks, this is going to be a combination. And what I encourage dealers and everybody to look at now, because we are having a top of the mountain experience. We are all on this bigger hill that we didn't know we could get to, right? It seemed something scary going into this entire thing. Now we're standing on whether it's a big money pile or a big victory pile of trophies that we've achieved. Great. This is where we experiment. This is where we get the chance to see, hey, what is this new technology that can go even further, right? Our entire message is forgive, focus, and fly. When we get to the top that we have to get to the highest height we've ever gotten to, all that we recognize is that there is another height. There's something higher up there. Well, let's do what it takes to get to there. And while we're at the top of the hill, let's try the things that can help make things simpler and easier for us as we excel to that next height. Hopefully that ties some of that together, because I believe this is going to be a unified approach, but a piece, it depends again on the experience, who wants it, how they want it. If we have a way to facilitate that, then we stay in business. If we only have one way to make our ice cream, then man, we're really just minimizing the availability we have to help anybody.
Thank you very much. We're going to go to a lightning round, but before we do that, Dave Jackson sent me just a message, and Dave, could you just mention what you wanted to say? Unless you're gone.
Morning, everyone. My comment was more on the digital versus live visits. It's Uber Eats versus in restaurant, right? I mean, both experiences work. I'll have Uber Eats sometimes and it's great, and if it's really good, I'll go to the restaurant. So I think the biggest problem that we're going to have, and the biggest problem we do have right now, everything's great. We're all making money. Sales are great. Life is wonderful. I see David took his North Pole down sign, which is good because I'm closer to the North Pole than you are. A lot closer. It's only -20 here today. But my point is, the biggest problem I think we have as dealers, and I think trainings and processes and everything else, I think the biggest problem we have is empowerment. And I think we have in our dealerships, this person runs the BDC, this person does that, this person does that. We don't empower our people to do the sales process, regardless of what that process is, whether it's a new process, an old process. The customer is texting. He wants to text. He doesn't want to go through a BDC. He just wants to talk to that individual salesperson, I believe. And I just think that we talk about the chip shortage and the manufacturers. We talk about the manufacturers taking over the digital. They already are. In Europe, they've canceled dealer agreements. They've gone to agencies. They've done that in Australia. They have agencies. We know that's coming. The agency looks after the new car sale. The dealer looks after the service, the parts, the used car. We all know that's coming. Okay. So when you talk about it's time for the dealers to learn new processes and to be ready and all this, it's time for you guys as trainers to be ready with new processes and new ways of doing things and new ways to showing us. I mean, you can come in and tell me all about digital and do this and do that and do this, but I'm not the guy buying it. I go to my staff and say, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this. They go, yeah, okay, great. And I come back from a dealer 20 meeting with these wonderful ideas, and they go, yeah, that's wonderful. And then 3 days later, everything's gone. The process has to be the empowerment, in my opinion, but what do I know? That's just my thought on it.
Oh, hey, come on. Digital hasn't reached High River, Alberta yet. So
we have a 24-hour clock now.
Bill, you had your hand up. Just before we go to that, I'll just deal with the last hands up, and then we'll quickly ask a few things.
Yeah, I liked what Dave had to say. I agree 1,000%. But just by virtue of the fact that we're all on this call, and you're hearing, a lot of similarities in what we've said, but also a lot of differences in what we prefer. Well, our clientele is the same way. So I think it goes back to what everybody has said. Our clientele would say, I'd rather buy in person. I'd rather do it digitally. Car dealers suck. I love the guys buy a car from. That's always going to be the case. You're not going to be able to order a newborn baby online anytime soon. How far does it actually go? At the end of the day, when you think about it, right? There are people that go to church online because they have no other way to get to church or to services. But yet the full experience, and for some people, the emotional attachment or spiritual attachment is they need to be live. And I don't think that's going to I don't think that's going to change. I think what digital has done, it was, I think a lot of people have said, it gives us another way to communicate real time with the customer. And I think what it's also done is it's given the customer an opportunity to verify or validate the information they think is necessary to make the best decision. Some people will never be the people to validate their decisions. They like to have a conversation to do that. That's just the way people are. And somebody else said it earlier, and I'll conclude with this. I think it was Dominic. We don't get to choose what the customer's propensities are. We don't. They make that decision. And that's one of the oldest adages in our business. Okay. It doesn't matter what we think about ourselves and what we think is on the other side of the hill. It matters what the customer thinks. And there's 5 billion people in the world. We have no idea. Digital just makes it easier to transcend geography and time. That's what the digital world has enabled us to do. It will never we're on a Zoom call right now. Okay. Why are we on a Zoom call? Because I get to see your face, your body language, how impassioned you are, and it will always make a difference. Otherwise, at the end of the day, except for Jeff Polo, of course, at the end of the day, we'll have a chip planted in our head, and our whole reality and our whole lifetime is going to be spent sitting in a chair, and the chip's going to just run through a tape of our whole lives. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Our senses, our need to move around, our need to be out and about is. And I'll give you 2 last examples and I'll close. Shopping mall in Monmouth County, we have the Monmouth County Mall, which is a major mall. It always has been. It was starting to die during COVID and everybody being virtual and ordering online and Amazon and this and that. You go down the street right now, that place is jammed. That place is absolutely, there's not a parking spot you can put your ass in right now. Not a spot you can put your ass in. Okay. That's just one example. They closed down all the movie theaters during COVID. Well, they just reopened them in our area. Every movie theater is jam-packed, whether they have to wear masks or whether they don't, because there is a need for experience as a human being that digital marketplace will never take away. Now, some people are busy getting those experiences elsewhere and satisfying their need for stimulation with other things in their lives, some good, some not so good. And there are other people that, seek that in the car buying experience. But the digital world's enabled us to pack more into our lives by not getting out of a chair, but it's never going to take away that need for stimulation and the need to get out and about. So we just have to be, I think, in everywhere human beings could possibly look, think, walk, talk, act. If we can find a way to be around every corner, and for the 2 car guys dressed so appropriately for today, when it comes right down to it, if we are just give the customer the impression that we're willing to do what Christine said, satisfy their wants and needs in every way, shape, or form possible in every area they choose to be, not where we choose to put them, we will probably succeed no matter what the world does to us.
Thank you. Great points. And I mean, you always have some great points. And so we're going to jump onto our quick lightning round. We're going to extend the show a little bit. It's the last day of the year, and you guys don't have to listen to us for at least 2 weeks. But Ian, we should put down for our show the generation show, and let's see if we can get some representatives of people in their 20s on here and see what they have to say.
The generation show. It's a good one. I like.
Well, I don't know about Dominic. He looks about 23. So very quickly, Christine, what did we do well?
We did a lot of things really well. I think we, in the industry, we really supported the vendors who needed the help. I think for myself and the car lady, we did make the transition to digital. We did these live events for 24 years now. January will be our 25th anniversary. But we're on pause right now. I got to be honest with you fellas. We have decided to take a long winter's nap because I feel like we're a little zoomed out, and I only want to provide value. So I'm going to actually take a bit of a pause, but for now, I think we've done a lot of things really well as far as supporting our teams, perhaps their mental health, and containing COVID as best we can in the workplaces, particularly here in Canada.
Well, thank you. And no matter what we do politically on that topic, it's just something we all got to watch out for and deal with. I guess the good thing too about COVID is none of us really would have connected to this extent had this not happened. So it's a great thing, and we look forward to that. Next, what could we have done better, Sean? Oops, did I lose you, Sean?
No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can see your smiling
He's just
face.
thinking.
What could we done better? Listen, I'll just go back to it. It's always the same. Communicate. Process. I'm 20 years in the business now. I came up through the service drive, similar to Christine. I mean, my first 12 years was service before I even knew anything else. And basically, I grew up understanding in this business that sales creates customers and service keeps them. For the first time ever in history, we were deemed an essential service, and that was service, not sales, right? And I'm not harping on sales, but rarely does service get any real estate on the websites. Rarely do we talk about service. Rarely does any marketing dollars go into service. So, yeah, that's what I would say. I think communicate. We need to work on our communication.
Perfect. One of the bees in my bonnet, which we always talked about, is dealers building Taj Mahals. But the good thing about that is, as we go more digital, they'll be able to dedicate more real estate to fixed ops. You know, that some of those big showrooms can turn into parts storage. Dominic, you got your hand up there. How about your opinion on this?
Yeah, just quickly, two things. I think what we should have done better, or what we should focus more, is empathy. With that, you're really listening to your staff or the customer. So we all talked about like communication tools, but listening and really feeling what people want. And just to mix everything up, everything we talked about that we're in, it's the web 2.0. We didn't even start with the web 3.0 that is coming. So I think with like dealers and OEMs, we'll try to find out a way to connect all the dots within that 2.0, but customer will all be already be in the 3.0 with everything decentralized, NFT, and everything else that come with it. So a lot of fun for the next 150 years, probably.
Well, here's something interesting. Here's the other challenge about the chip shortage is none of the manufacturers are developing self-delivering cars yet because they don't have chips for it. Jason from NABDAT, you've got your hand up.
Yeah. So, you know, from our point of view, I mean, we work with over 150 dealers across the US and Canada and run one of the, you know, what we believe is the most sophisticated website platform out there in the market today. And with that, we've had to support our dealers in this ever-changing environment, right? I mean, it's been a day by day, month by month. You know, so some of the things that we've done that we never would have thought of doing, you know, pre-pandemic, was building an order page for consumers on a tier 3. And we've done that for our Toyota, Honda, and Nissan dealers. And I can tell you this, I mean, we probably pull in, pardon me, about 150 a day that are coming in across our dealerships at the very minimum. So who knew that consumers would go to a tier 3 and order a vehicle? One of the other things that we did was integrated a PayPal hold my vehicle, allowing consumers to put a $500 deposit on a car in order to hold that vehicle. And it has worked, right? We're seeing more and more consumers. You know, consumers, I think we give them they're very good to adapt. They're very good to adapt to new technology and to new ways of buying things. And I think we don't give them credit for that, right? Working in tech for 15, 20 years, right? I think we all remember we had a Nokia device that couldn't do anything. And that wasn't that long ago. And then we had the BlackBerry and then the iPhone and now these Android. And consumers are very tech savvy and they'll figure out a way to do what they want to do, given the environment that they're working in. So, you know, coming from a vendor perspective and the things that we've had to do to support our dealers in the market today, I think we're very happy about that. And I think it shows that I think this is only the beginning of a transition on how manufacturers and dealers and consumers all interact.
Thanks. Paul? You're on mute.
Okay, I'm going to tie this together as a what we could have done better, and we collectively, and what some have done. In the car business, I clap my hands for everybody in the business because we're not known as being the first responders when it comes to making decisions. We turn at the speed a tanker turns in port, but what COVID has done for us is it has accelerated and gotten us collectively to embrace the technology and do the things to respond to consumer demand, and we've seen record profits from it. That's in the car business. One of our businesses, we have a yarn bus. We're the Nitty Gritty Yarn Girl on Facebook. We were an in-person only, similar to painting parties at restaurants. We did that for knitters. So we bought all this inventory for a trade show because we do well at trade shows. Trade show got canceled. My wife freaked out because we spent all this money and now this 4-day event is no more. What are we going to do? I said, your message is yarn to the people. That's what we're going to do. We went online. We broadcasted 16 live episodes over the course of the 4 days this event was going to happen. And guess what? We had a record year last year. We now ship all over the world kits. People tune into our Monday night show from all over the world. Chile, New Zealand, Australia, Canada, everywhere. People that live in New Zealand buy yarn from us that came from New Zealand, got shipped to the distributor in Long Island, then to Connecticut for us to entertain them on a Monday night, and then they pay for shipping back to New Zealand. So responding to the market. On the dealer vendor match side, I was a road warrior on the road. COVID hit, I pulled myself off the road, created something online, responding. Where sadly, I think an industry did not respond as well as they could have is in the restaurant industry. I have a food group on Facebook with about 8,500 people so far. And I've always preached, if the people aren't coming in and you want to blow up your takeout business, show them what you make and why they'd want to buy your food. I went in, I did live videos for different restaurants. People bought the takeout. They engaged with the post. They bought the takeout. People have gone to across 2-3 states to dine in restaurants that I've live streamed from. If more restaurants had shown the people what's coming out of their kitchen live, which is free, then as many as went out of business would not have done so. So that's my take on, what could we have done better, or how did we positively respond to adapt to the new market?
Thanks very much. Jeff, and since it is to time, maybe we can have some final comments. So whoever wants to go first, go ahead, Jeff.
Well, I thank everybody for their support this last year. It's been fun. We look forward to, with any luck, connecting everybody, meeting people in person. Fred and Lou, I got to tell you, I can't look forward. I can't wait to meet you guys. And, it's going to be a pleasure. And everybody here, may we have a happy, healthy, safe new year. Anybody else want to pipe in there before we sign off?
Yeah, I'd like to know how I can get on that Coffee Guy car show.
Hey, Christine, write my email address. It's fred@carguycoffee.com. Send me an email. I'll send you some dates. I'll get you on the show. I'd be honored. Actually, I was sitting here the whole time thinking, I need to connect with her. She's awesome.
Yeah. How many women technicians do you know? Right? We're like unicorns.
You're hitting us up at the right time. We've been featuring a lot of women in automotive, a ton of them. So it's perfect timing. Perfect timing.
Yes, ma'am.
Thanks, guys. Listen, I want to say Merry Christmas to everybody. Next year, we again celebrate 25 years, and that's because of the dealerships that believed in what we do. And so we're so grateful for that. If you're looking for me, you can always find me online at The Car Lady Canada or thecarlady.ca.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Next.
Well, just want to encourage everybody, have an incredible time. with the people that you've built your relationships with. Reach out to people that you know need somebody to reach out to them. Encourage somebody,
time of
bring a
year.
smile to their faces. If
That's
you're
right.
thinking about them, give them a call. Let them know that you're thinking about them, that you value them, that you appreciate them, and let them know. Stop percolating problems, brew solutions. Forgive,
That's right.
focus, fly,
And keep growing. I want to say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. If I don't see any of y'all, I will see Ian and Jeff tomorrow, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Folks, if you guys haven't seen our show, we have them both going to be on the show tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern time. All right. So make sure you guys check that out. It's going to be a good show. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be toasting the holidays. I also want to thank everybody on here. Amazing. It's just been great input. I love what you guys have to say. You guys really just empowered me to be ready for 2022. You know, it's always fun to be around others that are doing great things. So happy holidays. We love you guys. Booyah. See ya.
Ian, I think you and I need to come up with some catch lines like these guys too, you know?
I also wanted to say a quick message. Herb Henderson was going to be on the show today. Unfortunately, his mother passed away suddenly. So if you know Herb, feel free to reach out to him and, you know, when you can. Go ahead. Who's next?
I'll go. Be safe, but have fun.
Thank you. You too.
Dave.
Wish everybody happy holidays, and it's been a great year for us. It really has. Hopefully, we can continue. And I appreciate coming on and getting lots of information from lots of different people. I've just wrote down a couple of names, a couple of websites I want to check out from some of the folks that have been talking today. And happy holidays, everybody. Great.
I have a quick question for you, Dave.
Yes, sir.
Is it true Chrysler's pumping out those Ram Classics like crazy because they have like so few chips? It's ridiculous.
Absolutely. You know what? Everybody's talking about inventory problems. If you order the right thing, you get it. You know, like, I mean, I've got a lot full of those 1,500. I don't have a lot full, but I will have a lot full. I think they phoned me on Saturday. I've got 2 truckloads coming in today. I mean, I'm okay. And I'm okay, and I don't have a problem finding used cars. So, you know, I mean, hey, I've bluffed my way through some shitty poker hands, and it's worked out. So,
yeah. Everybody wondered why they kept producing those old Rams, and that's paying off for them because their cost on them is probably next to nothing now. So they're still making a ton of money.
It sure wasn't paying off like 2-3 years ago when we had hundreds of them everywhere and everybody was overstocked and we were selling them for $100 profit. But it's changed a little. It's changed a lot, actually. Anyway,
thank you
happy
very
holidays,
much,
everybody.
Paul, you wanted to say something?
Have yourselves a merry little Christmas. Wishing you guys all a healthy, happy, and prosperous new year, and let's crush it in 2022. Thank you for including me in this forum. It's been awesome.
Thank you so much, everybody. We're gonna sign off from there. Thank you, unless somebody wants to pipe in.
Dominic?
I'll probably say take the time to take the time with the people you love. Slow down, everybody.
Cheers. Take care, everybody.
Yep. Have a great day. Have a great week. Have a great holiday.
All the best.
Okay.
Maybe we should just sing our way off.
Fred and Lou, put your songs. If it's out here.
So long, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.